Hello, welcome to another video. In this video we're gonna finish off this PC. It needs a power supply, which we have here, and we'll need to put a hard drive in and install Windows 98 and then test everything works and try some games out on it, hopefully, if everything goes to plan. I did a video on this previously where we had a look at what's inside. I found that the power supply didn't work at all, so we got rid of that. And this power supply is from a Pentium 4 system. It's 250 watts, so it should be good for this older system. And yeah, I'll just try not to make too much noise. I'm not sure what the feet are like on the bottom of this. And as you can see, it's one of those ones where the power supply goes here, but it's a full-size ATX motherboard. We've got a very fancy looking modem here with a camera input by the looks of things, RF in, and then we've got video and sound all and game port and USB built into the motherboard. So yeah, let's get started. This was the system where the motherboard tray could actually fold out, but I don't think we'll need to do that. Oh yeah, and it's got EDO memory here rather than SDRAM. So we'll have to power this up and see sort of what the memory situation is. I might just have some spare memory I can put in there. Interesting that the IDE cable has only got one connector, and the same for the optical drive. We've got one optical drive connected, not two, and we've got a floppy drive connected. And should we have a look at the processor? So this is the heatsink removed, and it's got a thermal pad rather than thermal paste, and that's quite effectively stuck on there. It's a very small heatsink there, and we've got an IBM branded or IBM manufactured Cyrix 6X86MX PR233 CPU. Just gently pull that out, hopefully it won't fall out. That's the processor, so it's 2.0 times 83 megahertz, and it's 2.9 volts. That's the Cyrix writing on the other side. It's quite a cool little chip, looks quite neat. Line up the arrow with the corner. Put that back in. Interesting how long the motherboard is. It goes all the way sort of back there, and it's a SIS 5598 P5ST-A revision 1.0, and we've got ATX connector here. So if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Let's put this back on and leave this for now, but I'll see what the temperatures are like. If there's any concern, then I can replace the thermal pad with thermal paste. That clicked on quite nicely. Next we need to put the power supply in. This is an FSP group, FSP 250-60 GTA. noise killer, etc. Quite heavy, which is generally a good sign. And it's got a 20-pin connector on it. These cases are quite neat, but also it's a shame that this covers up most of the memory. I guess the arrangement or alignment of this ventilation isn't ideal. There's no vents on this side. There are some over here. And this came with a bag of screws, which is handy. So, where has the... Right. Going to plug in this. If I can. So that's the motherboard connected. And should we have a quick look at these cards at the bottom, just to sort of see what they are. So this is an ISA slot modem. And this is the Rockwell 97 chip. Interesting. A little bit dusty. Made in the UK apparently. 560 PCV data fax voice. We've got a TV tuner card, which has a audio connection. In fact, it's got two. It's got one from the optical drive, and then the other goes to the modem. And this is an MM100 TV video capture card, and it's a PCI. And we're going to need to find a hard drive to connect to this system. And also connect the fan for the processor. This has got a through connector, so you connect the fan comes off here, and then you can connect this to a device so you don't lose one of the power connectors. Got a floppy drive, and now to find the hard drive. Okay, so the smallest drives I've got are a 10 gigabyte IDE drive there, and this 40 gigabyte Maxtor drive. I'm going to go for the 40 gig Maxtor drive, but if I have any problems with that, then I've got this 10 gigabyte drive, or I've got a 60 gigabyte drive as well. But this one should work in theory, and yeah, should be good enough for what we need. And if I push this all the way forwards, it bumps into the front part of this case here, so I'm going to move it back a little bit so that it doesn't like vibrate against the front panel. And I'll just put in one screw for now while we check it works with this system. Okay, I think that is it. So let's connect up the cables. Okay, so we've got the power monitor keyboard mouse. I'm going to switch this power supply on, and then I'm going to press the power button on the front. So, the processor appeared. There was 64 megabytes of memory. Hard drive's making some odd sounds. And it's quite loud. Guessing it's the processor fan. Yep, that is a loud processor fan. So does that look right? Primary master, size, cylinders, heads. Let me check. Okay, so what we actually want is 16383. So if we do no. No. So do we have to type this in? User. Okay, let's try this. I don't know what pre-comp is. In sector 63 still thinks the size is different, so that's not right either. Might just need to do some googling on this. Looking online, this is a ECS P5 ST-A motherboard, and apparently Colossus was part of Time Computers. Don't quote me on that. Might need to do a bit more reading on that, but I'm just looking up sort of the maximum hard drive size. As this came to me without the hard drive, I don't know what size hard drive was in there Okay, I'm going to try the other smaller hard drive just to see what happens with that. I've also got another fan here which might be quieter than the current one, but it might be just as loud. Let me try that. I think this one is probably quieter, so I'll swap that out. It's also going to give me a chance to get rid of the dust that's in there. Okay, and now to put the other fan on, this one, making sure I remove the loud fan. May take some time. These seem to be slightly tighter holes. Whoops. Especially if I drop the screws. Probably one of the oldest PCs that I've got at the moment, being an early Socket 7 system. As you can see by the two types of memory, the 72-pin EDO RAM here, and then the newer SDRAM slots there. And I'm glad that this is ATX power connection, because I do not have any AT power supplies, and therefore, yeah, I wouldn't have needed to buy something if I wanted to power this if it was AT power. And once we've done this, we'll go back to trying the other hard drive in this PC. Okay, let's just check the sound levels first. Just briefly do this with this power supply out of the case. That is very much better. That was very satisfying, seeing that this is much quieter now that we've replaced this fan. So let's switch that off. Go back to switching the hard drive. So this is a 10 gig hard drive, and it's got the different cylinders, heads, etc. on this top bit. So let's see if we have any luck with this one. These hard drives have like a rubber protective wrap around them. It's quite interesting. Is that because they're fragile, or is it just they wanted to put some extra effort in to make them last longer? I don't really know, but I haven't really found these drives particularly reliable, to be honest, even with the extra rubber protection. Maybe it's just soundproofing. Okay, let's try this one. I've got something squeaking on the desk. Oh, I haven't connected the optical drive. Can you hear that? That is not the sound you want. Let's try the old turn it upside down trick. Try again. These are the heads in this, trying to seek. And we're not getting anything in the auto detection here. Or did we? No, I don't think so. So yeah, that is a dead drive. Well, half dead. Since we've got nothing to lose, let's try the old whacking a hard drive on a table trick. And see if that does anything useful. Probably won't, but no. Bring it closer to the camera so you can hear the noise it makes. It's still doing the chug noise. Okay, that is dead. Let's find another, try another drive. So this one is an 80 gigabyte drive, but it's got this cap limit jumper setting here. So it's possible we could set this, it will limit the maximum size, and it might work in this old system. So let's try that. These are the jumpers here, and we can borrow some jumpers off this dead drive. Although tweezers would be super helpful. So what do we need? We've got master, cable select, cap limit, no jumper. Okay, so J50 is what we want, and then we want 2 down. So we're going to put this on here. That should limit it, and that should help it work. But it might not. Let's find out. I mean, it might not even work in the first place. I think it should work. So, PR233, CPU found, date of 1997. That's 27 years old. And look, we've got detecting hard drive, primary master, and it's detected it. I don't know if it's going to try and boot from this. Floppy disk, yep, that's not connected. So let's connect up this optical drive as well. Grab my Windows 98 CD. And hope that the optical drive actually opens. It does not. So let's try the other one. I need to pull this open because it didn't want to open. Maybe it will now. No, it doesn't want to open. But it's detected a CD drive, so that's good. Hopefully we can set the boot sequence to boot from the CD drive first. CD-ROM CA. Great. Not sure if you can hear this. This doesn't sound the healthiest. Floppy disk, yeah, that's not connected. I don't think it's going to boot from that CD. Luckily I have a different CD drive that I can use. This is an old 52 speed, but it does install XP and it does install 98. Some CD rewriters don't seem to like installing Windows XP, but I know that this one does, so let's swap to this. So we can just put this on the top for the time being. Oh, I need to make sure I get that disk back. This cable almost reaches. Okay, let's put that on something else since it doesn't quite meet. This is like quite a short cable. It's a little bit frustrating. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, so switch it on. Let's see what's in here. Nothing. Okay, we've got a Samsung CD-ROM SC152L. And here we are. So we want to boot from the CD-ROM. We want to copy the contents of Windows 98 from the CD to the drive and install from this drive. That makes it quicker, and then if Windows ever asks for the files again, it can just get them straight from the hard drive. It's been quite some time since I've done this, so hopefully I can remember the process, but let's see. So we don't have anything happening on the drive. Let me have a look. Does that look right? 32 gig. And we can delete what's on there. Okay, we want to delete the logical, or is it non-DOS? Maybe it's non-DOS. So 3 delete, 4 delete non-DOS. Yeah, it's NTFS, isn't it? So you wish to continue? Yes. Okay, so create a DOS partition, primary DOS partition. This is where it's checking the drive. Interesting, there's a sort of lined pattern on the screen. Maybe the built-in graphics isn't great, or maybe we're picking the interference up from somewhere. So yep, we want to set it to active. It's going to check it again. And I'll probably, once we get going into the Windows 98 setup, I can fast forward that bit, because otherwise you might end up with a video that's very long. You must restart your system. Okay. Control-Alt-Delete. So I'll need to replace one of these at least with a spare drive that I've got. Going to boot from the CD, and we're going to start the computer with CD-ROM support. So now we've got a C drive. It might still need formatting, but it should be set up so that we can use it. So C, dir, nope, we need to abort and go back to A and format C. Let me have a look what we have. So you've got the fdisk command, but we don't have the format command. So we've got our partition set up, but it's not been formatted. Nope. we've got an active partition. We don't want to delete it, but we do want to format it, but they haven't given us the tools to format it. So in that case, we can boot from the CD, start the setup process, and then it will format the drive. And then we can copy the contents to the drive and start the setup again. Start Windows setup from the CD. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever noticed that there's an F5 remove color option. But I can't add it back now that I've removed it. So yeah, here we get the option to format it, which is what we want to do. I don't know if it's doing a quick format or if this is going to take like forever, if it's going to do a slow format. So we'll spare you the boredom of waiting for this. So we're at 98%, 99%. I don't know if it's going to suddenly start trying and installing the Windows 98 straight away, or if it'll pause first, because I still want to copy the files to the drive before running Windows 98 setup properly. So I'm going to reboot it there. I'm going to boot from the CD. I remembered that actually the format command might have been on the CD if I'd browsed that earlier, but anyway, it should have worked this time, and we should be able to boot to the hard drive and boot from the CD first, copy the setup files to the hard drive. Yeah, this is loading the drivers for the CD drive so that MS-DOS can read the disk. That's it's not just built in, and it's going through an array of CD-ROM drivers so that DOS can read this drive. Things were more complicated in the past, so we should have a C drive with nothing on here. So if we go to D, the optical drive, actually we need to make a directory, md win98. So we now have a folder on the C drive. We'll go to the D drive, list the contents, and here we've got win98 directory, which is what we want, and a whole load of cab files. And we want to copy all of the files to the C drive into the Win98 folder. You can't press up to repeat the command, you have to type it in again, unless you've set up that feature. So there we go, we're going to copy all of these from the CD onto the hard drive. Then we're going to run setup from the hard drive, and that makes the install process quicker. And like I said, if you then need anything from the drive, it looks here rather than looking at the CD, and that makes your whole sort of Windows experience nicer. I'll just put a screw in so that this doesn't move around. I'll check that's the right screw in a bit. So we now should have in the Win98 folder all of those, and we can run setup. Going to check the drive is okay, and then we can start the install process for Windows 98. Okay, so we've got a mouse, and let's start the process. Let's just put a timer here, see how long it takes. Should do custom and select everything. Not sure why it's grayed out. Don't need dial-up ATM support, I suppose. I mean, I don't really need a lot of those things, but why not install all of these? All of the multimedia, and of course volume control. Web TV for Windows, and 380 megabytes, so amazing how small it is really. Wave top data broadcasting. Add stuff to your TV tuner. Interesting. I doubt it would still work. Cyrix 233. Change this. It's not down as UK, it's just literally English British for some reason. And now we're on to UK. We're starting the copy process. Did I start setup from the C drive or did I start it from the D drive? Can you remember? Because why is it accessing the CD drive? I've ejected the CD drive now. So yeah, it's carrying on. Great. So 15 minutes to go apparently. So Windows 95, there's a version of Windows 95 that says it has USB support, and then Windows 98 and Windows 98 Second Edition also have USB support. However, when you plug in a USB drive, it still needs drivers. So on this disk I have got Windows 98 generic USB device drivers, and this lets you then plug in USB sticks to read stuff off there. Yeah, you kind of, I used to computers, you plug in a USB drive and it just goes, oh yeah, USB drive, I know what that is. Whereas Windows 98 has USB support, but it doesn't know what the USB device is that you're plugging into it unless you have put some generic USB drivers on there. There's also the issue of FAT32 and NTFS, and whether, you know, Windows 98 will want to read your drive if it's not formatted in a standard that it understands. I used to have a USB stick that had all my Windows 98 tools on. Not sure where that is at the moment. So it's still set to 1997 in the BIOS. You'll notice that it's only got the 2 numbers. It's not got 1998. That's because it was before the year 2000. Why would we need to specify the preceding years? And we are on the 23rd, and it's neither of those. So what are we on? I don't know, maybe about that. I'm just guessing. Because I'm using my phone to record, so yeah, I would normally check the time on my phone. Oh yeah, look, the time's there. It's too far away for me to read. I'll sort this out later. This is where it's literally building the shortcuts in the start menu for the programs we've installed. Windows Help, MS-DOS, Web TV, Wave, Top Data Broadcasting, System Config. And this is what I was talking about, how we've installed it from the hard drive, which means that when it's doing this, it should just get it from this. Yeah, it's getting it from the hard drive. There's nothing in the CD drive at the moment, so we don't have to put the CD back in every time it wants to copy from the source. Makes life so much easier. Less than a minute to go. That last minute was quite a long minute, but looks like it's taken about just over 31 minutes to get to this point. There was the delays with having to find the key, but otherwise we should be booting into Windows 98 this time round. I could probably speed up this process by setting those to not detect those and also connecting the floppy disk. But yeah, let's see if we get into Windows. Whoops. That was the funny thing about Windows 98 and 95, is that you could log on as a user, or you can just skip it if you don't want to, quite a lot of the time, and it'd still get you to the desktop, as far as I can remember. So we're probably going to need to install some drivers, unless we're extremely lucky. In terms of the video card drivers, sound drivers, and anything else in this system. But it's detected the screen, which is a plug and play monitor. The amusing thing is it wants a driver for the plug and play monitor, and then it's found a driver. It already had it. It takes you through the process anyway. And obviously the install would have been quicker if we hadn't selected everything to install. Okay, we've got a desktop. So that's about 35 minutes. And let's have, oh look, wave top. I don't think, have we got sound? Don't know if we've got sound or if I've plugged into the right one. Oh yeah, we do have sound. I like this screen, it plays some good music. I don't know what wavetop is. Only available in North America. Okay, let's cancel that. So we've got this weird web TV thing as well. Task scheduler. I don't think we want to connect this computer to the internet, but Cyrix instead. Device manager. We don't have the proper video driver. Got all sorts of stuff that we don't really need. And every time you change anything, it then wants to restart the PC. Quartz video capture, interesting. Advanced power management, etc. So, let's see if we can change the color. Nope. We can, that's frustrating. Apply the color settings without restarting. Apply, no, that's annoying. I want to be able to change these without having to restart the computer. Okay. No. So we need to find some drivers, and I'm gonna install the USB drivers so that I can just put things on a USB stick. But yeah, I think the next step in terms of installing drivers on this could be quite time consuming, so I might spare you the boredom. Here's the NUSB 36E-2694 Maximus Decim native USB version 3.6. And when we restart, we should be able to plug in USB drives. So we'll probably come back in a bit when I've got some drivers installed. So I've rebooted it I've put it in monochrome mode. I don't think I've used Windows 98 in monochrome mode before. Kind of looks cool. We've got the sound from this playing. That's fun. It seemed to detect some additional things on startup. We don't have video though. We can barely see this exclamation mark here. I'm liking this. This is whoops. This is fun, and it kind of is a bit glitchy. Where is flying through space? It's funny that we used to think that was good. So, all sorts of stuff here. Windows 98. I don't know what that is. Power settings, turn off hard drive, turn off monitor. Okay, I'll carry on with trying to get some drivers installed. And I'm going to just plug in a USB stick and see what happens. And it seems to have found a removable disk, and it's got some MP4 on it. Interesting. Properties, so it's an 8 gig FAT32 USB drive, so this should be fine for copying over some drivers, which I'll download on another machine. Okay, so I've downloaded the drivers from Phil's computer lab for the SYS 5598 graphics. So hopefully I will copy this to the C drive, and hopefully we will get some different graphics. I don't know what this is for. Maybe I just run this setup here. Doing everything in black and white is certainly interesting. DirectX, yay! Direct Draw, yay! And restart, of course. You must quit. Okay. I've connected the floppy drive and disabled it searching for the other drives in the system, so this should be a little bit quicker. That's the A drive. Okay, well, everything was going so well. Let's try again. I've disconnected the USB drive. See if that changes anything. We'll try normal, see what happens. Okay. Got colour. Got sound. Maybe it was just that I had the USB drive plugged in. We've got a display adapter. I'm not sure that the sound is working properly. Let's change the colors to high color, 16-bit and 800 by... Oh. No, I don't want to restart my computer. Advanced. Apply the settings without restarting. I think switching from 16 colors to more colors is the bit that's requiring the restart. Oh, why? Why? Let's just restart and see if we get more color. We're getting this blue screen again, and I think this is since installing the graphics drivers, so we might need to boot into safe mode, try some different drivers. Yeah, this could quite quickly become a time-consuming thing, getting this system running properly. I could also try a PCI graphics card, but I'd rather not at this moment in time. So we're now in safe mode. Shall we uninstall the display adapter? You could also remove these other devices. In fact, we could like physically remove them from the PC. Let's just restart. Okay, so it's redoing its driver information database, which may help us, it may not, but we'll soon find out. I put it on here, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. Let's restart again. Okay, so we've got back to the blue screen. I'm gonna go try find a different driver and come back. I think I'm gonna come back to this another day. I've removed the extra cards and it's still crashing, so I think it's still a driver issue that we're having. So in my mind this was going to be a relatively painless, quick video where we install Windows 98 and it works, and then we get to play with Windows 98 and do some stuff, but hasn't gone to plan. So before I try a different graphics card, I'm going to try some different memory. My theory behind this is that if there is a problem with the memory, it's being used by the built-in graphics and therefore it could be causing the crashing. So before we do anything, I'm going to put in this memory and take out the other memory, assuming that is possible without removing too much stuff. Just unplugging the power supply because it's easier to get to the EDO memory that's in here. This is the EDO 72 pin IBM branded memory, IBM chips on here. There's 2 sticks of this, and it's in very good condition. Let's put this memory in. Okay, the power. Switch it on with the power button at the front. Not getting anything, are we? Or are we? What happened to the did we get a beep? Do I have to change a jumper to switch to the SDRAM? Let's try again, switching it off and on. Something's happening because we're getting these sort of weird lines on here. Let me have a look at the motherboard, see if I can work anything out. Possible it might not like the memory might be faulty. There might be some kind of jumper on the motherboard to switch between the 2 different types of memory. I had a look online, and don't seem to be many other reports of problems with those drivers that I could find anyway. There are a bunch of jumper settings here, and they're to do with the CPU voltage, the multiplier, the frontside bus speed, as well as VGA disable and enable for JP7, which is up here. And I've moved it from what it was on to what it is now. It's possible it was on disable, and maybe I've switched it to enable, which doesn't necessarily make much sense, but we'll try it and see what happens. Okay, I think I've connected up everything. I'm going to switch it on, press the power up front, and we'll see what... Yeah, that doesn't sound good, does it? So it was on enable, now it's on disable. So let's switch this off, switch it back to enable, switch it on. Seems happier, but also not happier. It's not doing anything. So let's try a different memory stick. I actually just moved the memory stick to the other slot, and that seems to have made it happy. So we'll see what happens when we boot into Windows, and see if we still get a blue screen. I'm gonna need to replace the CMOS battery in here because it hasn't remembered the date and time. We're in 16 color mode. Let's try 256. We'll restart and see if it works or if we get the blue screen. Okay, blue screen, so it's not the memory. That's a shame. It would have been nice if we've managed to fix this by switching the memory. I'm going to try PCI card, see what happens with that. I'm going to put in this S3 Verge DX PCI card. This has got some problems with the memory, so it does glitch a bit, but other than the glitches, it does work okay. And I'm gonna try and find the right slot for this. So I've put this card in, I've switched the jumper to disable the onboard graphics, switching it on, and we're getting this. So I'm not sure how old this card is, or whether Windows 98 has drivers built in, or whether we're going to need to install them. But yeah, let's just see what happens. So these are the lines I was talking about. This is like a problem with the graphics card. So it's found the card, says it's installing the software, and we'll see if it installs the drivers. It looks like it's going to install the drivers for us. And you can tell the difference between drivers being installed and not being installed based on how much color you're getting and the color of the actual background. So that was like a pale greeny blue teal color, but when you actually get the drivers installed you get a much richer teal green type color. I've got another PCI card that is a Riva TNT2 64. Here's a richer green that I was talking about, and the lines from the card being a little bit faulty. I've also got a Riva TNT2 64 PCI card, but for that I'd have to download the drivers, and at the moment I just want to see if Windows is working, and it is working apart from these glitches. So that seems either a driver problem with the onboard graphics or some kind of problem with the onboard graphics. So if it's a driver problem, I need to find different drivers, or if it's an actual problem with the board, then that's an issue, because then I'm going to have a PCI card in this computer permanently. So let's just run DirectX Diagnostics, Cyrix 233, that's a computer name, 64 meg RAM, etc. And there's a little sort of test, and it's going to use software rendering to draw this little box for us. Okay. Okay, so I've installed the drivers for the onboard graphics with the Windows 95 driver rather than the 98. And I'm just going to try the onboard graphics again to see if the changing to the Windows 95 driver makes any difference. And I'm going to take the S3 card out. So let's switch this back on and see if we still get the blue screen. So this is what I mean, it's using 1 megabyte of the memory from the the SD card, the SD memory. No, blue screen again. So there does appear to be something wrong with the motherboard graphics, and my S3 Verge card isn't any good because of the glitches. So for the purposes of trying to get this up and running and trying to make this not into the world's longest video, I'm going to put in the NVIDIA Riva TNT2 64 card and install the drivers, and then we can have a kind of quick look at how it performs and just have a quick look at some software I've been wanting to try on a Windows 98 machine. So disable the onboard video, connect the monitor cable, switch it on, and I've downloaded the drivers and this PC is beginning to be quite annoying. That's one way of putting it. So I disabled the onboard graphics. It's got memory, it's got a video card connected, got a video cable connected. Let's enable the onboard video again. We're not getting anything on the screen, which makes me think it's not actually using this this card. I'm not getting anything when I've connected to the built-in. Okay, so we're back on the internal graphics. It didn't like that. It didn't like this card. I don't know why. It's worked on other PCs, but we're going to get the blue screen here because the onboard graphics doesn't work with those drivers. Although it might just go back to 16 color mode. Yup. So if we say OK. Let's uninstall the drivers, get rid of this, remove, let's restart, see what happens. Had a look on eBay for PCI graphics cards. And you have to scroll through hundreds of PCI Express cards before finding anything, and there are so few PCI cards on there. Well, I searched by price, I couldn't find any, yeah, it's really tricky trying to find old stuff on eBay. Probably if I look in a minute I'll find like a bunch of them, or there'll be a range of high price cards. So it's found the display again, the built-in one, but the problem is every time we install this driver it gives us a blue screen. No, I don't want to restart because I'll just get a blue screen. I guess we've got no choice really. We'll restart and see what blue screen we get. Yep, blue screen. I have replaced the CMOS battery. We're still getting a blue screen. I've set the front side bus to 66 megahertz, just in case that makes any difference. So now it thinks we've got a PR166. Setting the front side bus, we're still getting a blue screen. I set the PCI clock to synchronous instead of asynchronous. We're still getting a blue screen. I disconnected the audio cable from the CD-ROM drive. We're still getting a blue screen. I've disabled the onboard audio and it's now finding a bunch of drivers. Probably the IRQ settings or something like that has changed. So it was just finding the printer port and a few other things. And we're still getting the blue screen of death. I'm going to put in this ISA graphics card. It's super old, and I'm going to see what kind of video resolution we get from this. Just to see if it's in any way usable. It might not be. It might have so little memory that it ends up being completely useless, but I'm going to try it anyway. And I've put everything back to where it was, like PR233, 83 megahertz front side bus, put the audio back on, things like that. And we'll see whether Windows 98 detects this graphics card, which is a Western Digital WDC. It's only got half of the memory slots filled. The sound is quite distorted. Okay. So, no, it's not in there. So it's kind of not as amazing. It's not very plug and play as far as I'm aware. I might have to select it. Then again, it might find it. And it's looking like I might have to order a PCI card from eBay. I have found some actually. There's the S3 Trio, which is worse than an S3 Verge, and then there's S3 Verge on there and similar cards, but they're kind of rarer than AGP cards, and people seem to want quite a lot of money for them. And I'm not really interested in making any money from this system, to be honest. I'm just trying to get it working and then move it on. But also I don't really want to spend that much money on the system either. because I've already got a system like this, and let's see what it's found. Western Digital. So it's found a Western Digital graphics card, hopefully, and we'll probably need a restart now, won't we? But yeah, I don't have much need for this. I've got a nice Socket 7 system with AGP. I don't need this system, so I kind of would like to get it working, be able to pass it on. But yeah, don't want to spend money on it either, or not much, because spending money for a PCI card that isn't very good, like a S3 Verge, doesn't make much sense, because you could be buying, I don't know, a nice PCI card, but I don't know what, if I give this away, I don't know what someone will want to do with it, so it kind of feels a waste to kind of pass this on. So pass it on and not have to spend money on it. We've got 256 colors, and we've got the option of 800 by 600, and it works, so that's good. 256 colors, 800 by 600 is the most that this card can do, and you can see how slow it is as it's actually drawing the window. So it's not going to be great for much, really, but it's nice to see that it's kind of doing stuff. Let me see if we can actually play anything on this, or if the card is going to be too slow. So I've got Sega Smash Pack. This comes with a bunch of like Sega Mega Drive games, I think. And hopefully I'll be able to DirectX 6. I think we've got that already. I don't know if this card is going to be able to do anything with DirectX 6, but we'll see what happens. So this has got Outrun, which is the game that I'm most interested in having a look at. What happened? So Sega Smash Pack, unable to create primary surface. Hardware only direct draw. Object creation was attempted, but the driver did not support any hardware. So basically, this card that we've got is not going to do anything for us. We've basically got Windows, but nothing else. Let's use software, and it won't do it because it wants 16-bit color, which this graphics card doesn't support. So it can do other things like drawing boxes, but yeah, it's not going to be able to do anything for us in terms of games. So yeah, it looks like I need to order some kind of graphics card for this, or I don't think I'm going to be able to get the onboard graphics working. Nobody else seems to have reported problems with these drivers. I've seen a video online on YouTube, someone installing these drivers with the same chipset, and they managed to install the drivers fine. So I think there is something wrong with the onboard graphics on this system. So yeah, I think this might be as far as we can go. I think I might just give this system away maybe, and just say onboard graphics doesn't work, and this needs, you'll need to put in some kind of PCI graphics card in this. Yeah, I think that's probably all I can do with this, really. It's a shame, but yeah, I need to put in a optical drive that works as well. That would probably be a good idea. But yeah, if you've watched this far, thanks for watching, and yeah, look out for another video. Bye. Okay, we've still got this error message. This is interesting. It looks like it still thinks there's a Western Digital there. So maybe if we remove that, it'll free up that I/O for the built-in graphics. It still might blue screen on us though. Yep, blue screen. Okay. Yeah, I think the built-in graphics on this are dead. Well, they're not dead, but they just don't work properly. So yeah, always worth a little bit of an extra try, especially resetting the BIOS, but no luck this time. Weird bonus material, Sega Smash Pack with the weird S3 Verge, and the sound is all sorts of distorted. But this Smash Pack gives you Altered Beast, Columns, Golden Axe, Outrun, Phantasy Star 2 and Shinobi. Oh, Sonic Spinball. Oh, and another one, Vector Man. Not really interested in Sonic Spinball, but I do want to try Outrun. Excuse the bad graphics or distorted graphics. Oh, it's got the different music you can choose from. Oh wow! I don't know what the controls are. They're meant to be engine noises. That truck is going fast. I'm going 120 miles an hour and this truck is also going about the same speed. So if this video had gone to plan, this would be what I would be playing, but without the weird graphical glitches. So yeah, let's end it here. I've just realised you're supposed to change gears between low and high, which is why I was only overtaking trucks. and I've got to get to the next stage before I run out of time.